respected parliamentarians, and all the participants, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May pleasing blessings of Allah be upon you all. We are here to celebrate something which I feel in society, it is very, very important that if we're going to have peace and harmony in society, then we should look after the poor in our society. Because if we don't look after those who are in need of help, then there's an imbalance in society which creates tension in the society at large. And therefore, I'm very proud that our Elders Association have raised several hundreds of thousands of pounds for deserving cases in Britain. And a lot of people will be benefiting from the efforts that they have made. But I also like to congratulate all the charities who are here, because they too make huge amount of effort to try and make sure that they too raise funds, and some people give freely of themselves to try and help those people in our society who need our help. So this is today we are celebrating both the efforts of the Elders Association and also the efforts made by the charities who throughout their lives work very diligently in trying to help those who need help in our society. Now, the question that I wanted to discuss today is that in this society, we find that there is a lot of tension. We find that at this moment in time, there is tension based on faith. And particularly at this moment in time, Islam has a very bad name in certainly the Western world. We have Islamophobia. So what is it, and what are the reasons why we have reached this stage? Going back a few years, when the Cold War finished, we were going through a period where we thought that we were going to have peace in our society. And everyone was celebrating that we were going into a world which was going to be a peaceful world. And then the sad events of 9/11 changed all that. And after 9/11, we saw that people in the West started questioning Islam, which previously was just another world faith that lived in peaceful coexistence with everyone. So what was it that has led to this event in 9/11? And people started questioning whether there was something wrong with the Islamic faith itself. But what people failed to understand, and lots of people came to me as well to find out what is it about Islam that has led to this. So in order to explain what has happened, firstly, you have to understand what is faith. Faith is a set of rules by which you can have a peaceful and harmonious society. Faith is where it defines the relationship between husband and wife, between society, and at every level, it defines the relationship by which you can have a peaceful society. And then the second part of faith is your relationship with your Creator. And if we all believe in the same God, it is not possible that God gave a separate message to Prophet Moses, a separate message to Prophet Jesus, and a separate message to Prophet Muhammad, peace be in all of them. The fundamental message is exactly the same, how you can have a peaceful and harmonious society. So if that is the case, and we believe that the Holy Quran was the last word of God to mankind, how is it possible that Islam cannot be fit for the 21st century? And perhaps Islam gives a message which is not relevant to the modern society that we live in. The fact of the matter is, the word Islam in itself means peace, as you heard Lord Sheikh say earlier. And the whole basis upon which the tenets of Islam teach us is how we can achieve that peace in society. So why is it that we do not have peace in the world at this moment in time, particularly in the Muslim world? The reason for that is that when you move away from the Prophet, given time, the teaching gets corrupted. And unfortunately, we find that even Islam, in some of the Muslim countries, we see that the teaching has been corrupted. And sometimes you hear in Saudi Arabia, for instance, that women are not given rights. The women, until recently, could not drive cars. They had to be chaperoned wherever they had to go. This is nothing to do with the faith itself. This is local customs and local traditions that have been corrupted in the name of Islam. But if you look at the pure teaching of Islam, it gave rights to women 1400 years ago, that women in the West only enjoyed recently. 1400 years ago, Islam gave rights women to own property, to be able to full rights of education. They were allowed to divorce. And in the West, until recently, if you look into history, you find that women used to be part of the estate of the man. So 1400 years ago, Islam gave those rights that only enjoyed recently in the West. Then we look at freedom of other faiths. Well, I'll read a little bit from historian S.P. Scott, who says, if the object of religion be to inculcation of morals and diminution of evil, the promotion of human happiness, the expansion of human intellect, and if the performance of good works will avail the great day when mankind shall be summoned to its final reckoning, it is neither irrelevant nor unreasonable to admit that Muhammad was indeed the apostle of God. One of the many reasons why the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was such a celebrated figure in history is largely because he was responsible for various treaties and constitutions that established peaceful cohesion between tribes and the people of Arabia of the time. Islam guaranteed full rights to non-Muslim population and granted full civic rights throughout the blessed scriptures, through the blessed scriptures of the Holy Quran. The most significant that comes to mind is, of course, the Constitution of Medina. Following his migration from Mecca to Medina, the Holy Prophet gained great political influence, and so with this influence, he constructed the Constitution of Medina. This essentially created the blueprint of granting religious freedom to all those living in Medina. Christian, Jewish minorities groups were granted rights through pledges, documents, and mutual agreements in order to create a healthy atmosphere for the growth and development of both spiritual and material growth of all different groups living in the Islamic rule. The first article of this constitution establishes the concept of one nation. People of all faiths, Muslim, Christian, and Jews, were all protected citizens of Medina, irrespective of their beliefs, race, or descent. They were free to practice their faiths as they wished, and tribal feuding was brought to an end as Arab tribes were brought under one system of governance. So you can see 1400 years ago, there were treaties that gave full rights to people of all faiths. But what we find, unfortunately, now, even in the Muslim world, that freedom has been taken away. And it is that injustice that has created the conflict that we are seeing today. But talking about justice, if we are going to have peace in this world, then we have to have justice at every level. You know, when we make decisions in the United Nations, if the decisions are not based on justice, then you will never be able to achieve peace. So my request to our political leaders that we have with us, and I know that all of the politicians that we have here today, they fully endorse, and that is one of the reasons they're here today with us, this concept of peace based on justice. And when the politicians make political decisions, whether it is to support some of the dictatorships in this world, they should think about whether their decisions are going to impact on those poor people who are not represented by anyone. And unless they are bold enough to make sure that they make their decisions purely on the basis of justice, then we'll continue to have this conflict. And again, in the United Nations, unless United Nations, they stop having these individual interests to protect, then we'll continue to have discord in this world. So the Ahmadiyya community is trying its very best through peace conferences, through charity events, through various events where we can bring communities together to try and create some peace at the local level. But I think unless the international leaders of our world and society, they themselves do not truly look at creating peace in our society based on justice, then we'll continue to have this conflict. Now, our community was the leader of our community, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. We believe him to be the promised reformer. And we feel that he came to bring this peaceful message to the people of this world and to revive the true teaching of Islam. And following his demise, we have khulafas or khalifas who have been taking that message forward. And today, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmed, who is our current Khalifa, he has been visiting world leaders around the world and giving this message to people around the world that if you're going to achieve peace, if you're going to avoid war, then they have to do it on the basis of justice. And I hope and pray that we will be able to get this message to our leaders, and we can hope that our children who are growing up in the current society, they will be able to see peace based on justice. So with these few words, I would like to once again thank the organizers of this event, and I would like to thank all the charities who have participated. I know I was there when they held the marathon walk. We had almost 4,000 people who attended the marathon walk, and through their efforts, they have been able to raise almost 700,000 pounds. This is a great achievement, and next year, I believe that they are trying to aim for 1 million pounds. So hopefully next year we'll be able to give even more money to charities. So God bless them, and I really am very grateful to all of you for coming here and joining with us this afternoon. Thank you very much.